Hello, welcome. My name is Hin Han, and today we're delighted to invite Mr. Herbert Tsoi as our guest of honor to share his insights to the Law Society. So Mr. Tsoi, thank you so much for attending this interview. Can we talk a little bit about your background? What motivated you to pursue an interest in the law?
It came by chance, actually. When I was in my secondary school, I actually don't know how to study. I always enjoy playing games and playing with friends and don't spend much time studying. And then I did very badly in science subjects. And I was told that if I want to be promoted to Form 4 and Form 5, then I will have to do arts subject. So I ended up doing geography, history, English literature, and so on. And then I got to my sixth forms. I want to get a university degree. And as I am always bad academically, I get, I cast my net quite wide. I enroll and I apply for law, and then for some art subject like geography and history to universities both in Hong Kong and in UK and also in America. And for some strange reason, I did quite well in my A levels. And I got admitted by all the universities. And at that time, I applied for law in London U, and as a safer bet, some geography in Hong Kong U, and then some other university in America. And at that time I thought I am not that quite an academic person, so if I do a straight art subject, it may not suit me. So I said, oh, okay, in that case, I'll try law in London. And since my two uncles, the two younger brothers of my mother, was also in London at the time, and they also did law, and they told me that's not difficult. So I had a try and I did law, and strangely enough, when I went to University of London and did law, I did quite well.
You're too modest.
And then I don't like advocacy, so I found a firm in London, a city firm, and did my traineeship there. Articles at that time, we call it. And then I came back to Hong Kong and started practicing.
So what type of law do you practice?
At that time, I was admitted in Hong Kong in 1976. I remember that my number as a solicitor was 415. So at that time there, probably that I'm the most junior one because I got 415. So there's about only, well, say 400 practicing law in Hong Kong. And I think as solicitors, we are all GPs rather than specializing. But as a young guy, I was told to go to do litigation. So in the first few years, I did quite some litigation. And then, of course, when there are younger people joining the firm, we send them to do litigation. And so I stayed in my firm and do all other works. At that time, I can only call myself a general practitioner. We don't actually specialize.
So how about now? I understand you developed a very strong practice in probate.
Oh yes, it came by chance as well. Because I did litigation, and then I worked in an established Chinese firm at that time, and there were a lot of clients, old clients who has made will in the firm, and let's face it, everybody would have to go somewhere one day. So there were a lot of probate cases ongoing, and there was only a clerk looking after it. And at that time, I took up looking after the probate department because I did litigation, and for probate application, you go to the High Court, the probate registry. So it's something like doing a lot of affidavits and stuff, rather than doing a transaction. It's like quite a bit of court work. So I started doing that.
Oh.
And it came that way.
What aspects of being a lawyer do you find most fulfilling?
I like meeting people. I like talking to people, and I like to make sure that I serve them right and make them happy. And I actually enjoy my work, so therefore I have not retired yet.
So you mentioned that you started your law career in England,
Yes.
and then you came back to Hong Kong. How was that transition?
Well, I started doing law in London U, and then I did my articles in London. Actually, I quite enjoyed the life in England. But then my parents are in Hong Kong, and so are my brothers and sisters. And then gradually, each of them went overseas to do the degree, the tertiary degree. And I just found that, my parents need somebody to be with them. And since I'm one of the earlier that went, so I came back and I stayed with my parents when my younger brothers and sister went over to England to study. My younger brother also came back to Hong Kong. Actually, my elder sister and my younger sister also came back to Hong Kong. But then later they got married, and one emigrated to Canada, and one has emigrated to Singapore. So it's only me and my younger brother who's now in Hong Kong. My mother is now 94, she's still alive and healthy, and I'm glad that I'm back here, be with her.
It motivated you to establish your own firm?
I was in another firm for quite a while. In fact, I was there for 23 years, and I was close to 50 at that time. And I realized that if you work in a bigger firm, then sooner or later you have to, actually sooner than what I want, I will have to retire and let the younger guy get up the ladder. And I think if I continue in my old firm, then I would be retiring when I'm 60 or about 65. And since at that time I've already established quite appropriate practice, and I would like to see that I can serve my uncles and aunties and my clients who have made will with me well. So I think I need a longer career, and for that reason, and that's one of the main reasons that I said, okay, I'll start my own firm. I'll do what I like, a niche practice in probate, looking after my friends, so and my good clients. So that's why I started.
I know you have really great achievements in your career, your professional career, and you also contributed to the Law Society immensely. I understand that you were a council member from 1993 to 2005, and then you became a vice president for the Law Society. And then you served a 2-year term from 2000 to 2002 as the Law Society president. Can you tell us a little bit more about that experience? And I know you've made many contributions, and I would be very happy if you could share those as well.
I think one of the reasons was that, as I said, I don't like studying. I always enjoy playing and joining whatever society there is, and be active outside what I really should be doing. As I told you, when I was in secondary school, I spent all my time doing everything else apart from studying. And joining the Law Society actually is a way out from doing my own professional work in one sense, but it's close to the legal practice. So I joined, and then I like it because suddenly you realize that the area that you practice and the people you see every day is not the entire world. So joining the Law Society, I started learning about aspects of law and other areas of law that I've never touched. And I most enjoyed my time when I was in the Standing Committee of Compliance, and that you suddenly realize that some of our members are quite naughty, and ended up, we even in the when we're having committee meetings or the compliance committee, sometimes we cannot stop just saying 咁都得㗎咁. How can he be managing things such a way? And then I would say it's I learned a lot from the areas of my fellow practitioners, and I know how to actually make sure that I don't step into the wrong track altogether. So, and it makes me more alert on what and how a lawyer should be, which is very, very interesting. Actually, people advised me to think carefully, not to be a president because it would be almost a full-time job. But I said, well, I have learned so much from the Law Society, and if I can be of help to the profession, I will sacrifice a couple of years and do a bit more for the Law Society and for the membership. And that's why I agreed to stand for election as a president, and luckily I got elected by the members.
I think you've not only helped the profession immensely, you also contributed to the society as a whole. I understand you were instrumental to the change in the marriage ordinance, and that allowed not only lawyers to act as civil celebrants, but it also allowed flexibility for people to get married in different locations other than the registry. Can you tell us a little bit more about your role?
Pre-1997, everybody was happy. We are making a good income for a good living at that time, all lawyers. And then just pre-1997, the scale fee was abolished. So convincing suddenly became a burden rather than a cash cow for most of the members and most of the profession, actually. And then after 1997, by 1999, the economy was quite bad at the time. And then a lot of members were actually complaining about that there's no scale fee, we are having a hard time, and then we need to think of something to see what like in what Cantonese 開源節流, and then we must find new resources, new angles that we can be of help. And then I think we were discussing amongst friends what can be done, and then we found that perhaps we can try our luck and see whether we can get a chance of becoming celebrants, in the sense that even when you get married in the marriage registry, you have to take an oath. So we can always administer oaths, and so it's worth a try. And then I start thinking about it, and I really think that it's a win-win-win situation. Win-win-win in the sense that, firstly, in the good days when you look at the Chinese almanac, the marriage registry is always full, and you have to queue up, and you've only got 15 minutes to do 10 minutes to do a ceremony and 5 minutes to take photographs. And then you herded along around the marriage registry hastily to make sure that you give way to the next couple coming out. If the marriage registry can, let's say, delegate that our job to other people, then obviously the marriage registry can have less busy on the good days. And on the other hand of the coin is that in a bad day, the marriage registry, everybody was having nothing to do, nobody go to get married on those days. And it's a waste of resources. Win in the marriage registry sense, win for the restaurants if we can find a venue that can be where marriage can be celebrated other than churches and the marriage registry. It will just give more business to the restaurants. And actually it extended the time of your getting married, because for restaurants you can do it in the evening as well. In marriage registry, office hour, in church, even shorter hours, longer services, and less people can be served. And for lawyers, of course, we get a new angle, a new area of work, and whoever is eager enough can always work in the evening and earn that money as well. So I thought it would be win-win-win for everybody, and I think we were quite successful about it, because a lot of restaurants has been finding that getting people celebrating marriage in the restaurant bring them business. The marriage registry now doesn't have to be having such a headache of accommodating so many people in the good days and having nothing to do on the bad days. and lawyers get a chance to meet more clients, meet more people, and have another source of making a living. So as it turned out, it was quite good. And obviously, I started it in my time when I was president, and I was lobbying everybody. But by the time the ordinance was amended to allow for self-president, I've already stepped down as the president. But it was a good experience.
Yeah, all your efforts have resulted in a much better industry for the marriage.
Oh yes, for people marrying, I think everyone is much happier now.
So what do you focus your time on now with the Law Society? What type of contributions are you currently interested in?
I'm still a member of the probate committee, and I've recently joined the mental health committee, which is a new committee. I find that, again, converting to Cantonese, is that the business I'm doing now, I can always laugh at myself and call it the 夕陽行業. It's in the evening, it's eventide. Not that we are going to collapse and that we are going to go into darkness soon, but it's to serve the people in the older ages when they are getting older. So I do a lot of wills, and then of course later on probate in due course. And then there are the continuing power of attorneys, which we cater for the older people when they get demented or when they fall into coma. And then I prepare and help them to set up family trusts. And then suddenly another committee member of the probate registry find that now that people are living longer, dementia and mental health becomes a problem. That sometimes it's interlinked that the older people might suddenly have a stroke or dementia, and they are lacking in mental capacity in handling their own affairs. So mental health becomes quite an issue when you are dealing with the legal profession. I think it's becoming another angle that lawyers must address too, like the mental health ordinance, the continuing, what do you call that one? The power of attorney ordinance.
Enduring.
The enduring power of attorney ordinance. And in fact, I understand that the government is now trying to have another new power of attorney ordinance, which is called the continuing power of attorney ordinance, looking after the Asian population in Hong Kong. So it's an area that actually has a lot of potential. It's not a dying profession. It's although we are serving, again, sorry to say that we are serving the dying, or near that way, but they are not actually the profession itself. I can see that it could be flourishing quite a while, have a lot of angle to it.
So what do you think future lawyers have to equip themselves with in order to deal with all these new changes?
It's difficult to say because nowadays the younger lawyers specialize when they're very young, and a lot of them would prefer commercial work, mergers and acquisition, business, corporate, whatever. And a lot of the bigger firms doesn't actually cater for the people, but for commercials and companies. So it depends on whether you are lucky enough to get in a firm that handle this sort of matters, or whether you're interested in this sort of matter and join a firm which practice in this area. And then they can develop their own interest and see how they can do it. Because everybody specialized so early in the career. So sometimes by luck, by choice, as like me, I started with litigation, and then suddenly I found that I have probate files in front of my desk, and I have to deal with them.
So, Mr. Tsoi, I understand that you're a passionate lawn mower. How do you think that factors into your life, your work-life balance, and your life as a lawyer?
Well, again, it's very interesting. I started lawn bowling because when I came back to Hong Kong in 1976, I would like to take up a sport. In England, I usually just do some jogging, and I quite enjoy it because by jogging in the weekend, I managed to train myself to run to catch the train when in London, because in London at that time sometimes there is only a train going down back to where I live in every half an hour. So if I miss a train, then I have to wait for half an hour in the station. So usually if I'm late, then I have to really run to get onto the train. But when I come back to Hong Kong, that is no longer necessary, and I'm taking out a sport. I'm always a fat guy and I can't do much strenuous sports. I do a bit of swimming, and then I was thinking of joining the golf club. I was told that if I'm going to join a Hong Kong golf club, I'll have to probably wait 25 years before I can get into it. So I was thinking what I can do, and then there was a client who came to Hong Kong, and we did a bit of litigation for him, and in fact he was a lawn bowler, and he said, well, why don't you do lawn bowling? And I thought, yeah, why not? Because lawn bowling is again a very relaxing game. You just walk around in the lawn like a golf course, and he started teaching me this. He said, why don't you come down to Victoria Park? There's a lawn bowling green there, and we play there. So I played with him for a couple of times. I like the people that I see, and then one Friday he rang me and said, well, are you free tomorrow afternoon? We are actually playing in a league game, and we are missing a player. And I said, well, come on, only play for 3 times. He said, well, at least if I got enough players, we can form a team to play with the other side. Otherwise, we will be disqualified. So I said, why? Yes, why not? And then I started playing in the league game, and from a substitute, I became a regular player. And I was always playing in the Victoria Lawn Bowls Club, which actually is one of the commonest clubs, because at that time when you want to play lawn bowling in 1970s or even the early 80s, you have to join one of those elite clubs, like the Hong Kong Cricket Club, the Kowloon Cricket Club, the Kowloon Bowling Green Club, or some other clubs that they have their own green. And in fact, we are one of the earliest teams that used government provided, urban council provided lawn bowling green to be our home ground. And so I started playing, and I enjoyed the game, and I was bad in studying when I was young, but at that time I started enjoying taking examinations. I find that it's quite a challenge. So I learned the rules, and I became a coach as well. So there are 3 levels of coaches in Hong Kong recognized by the government, and I'm a grade 2 coach now, which is quite fun. But I seldom do coaching now, but I enjoy the game, and I've been playing since around the 1980s till now. So it was great fun, and it's competitive, but it's always a friendly game, and the people are all friendly, and it's not strenuous, and it just suits my liking.
Thank you very much for sharing. It sounds like an awesome game. I think I'll look into it as
Yeah,
well.
you can look into the thing we say is that for this game you can play when you are starting from 8 to when you're 80. So I'm only 70, so I can still play for another 10 years.
Still very young. So what are your hopes for the next generation of Hong Kong lawyers then?
I hope they will all do well. I hope that they will continue to serve the society, to serve the people, and to be a good member of the law society, and be a good example to the even younger people, the students, and make sure that they feel that the lawyers and being a lawyer is a profession that they can respect and that they aspire to become themselves.
Thank you, Mr. Tsoi, for attending our interview today. And as a token of appreciation, the Law Society would like to give you our Law Society teddy bears.
Oh, thank you very much.